for the family of murdered Border Patrol agent Brian Terry, the contempt vote against Attorney General Eric Holder is personal. Brian was killed more than 2 years ago in southern Arizona when he and his team got into a gunfight with a crew of armed illegal immigrants. 2 of the guns recovered from the crime scene were AK-47 rifles that had been lost during the botched Fast and Furious gun-walking operation, and Brian Terry was just 40 years old. Attorney General Eric Holder invoked Brian's name today while criticizing House Republicans.
Instead of trying to correct the problems that led to a series of flawed law enforcement operations, and instead of helping us find ways to better protect the brave law enforcement agents like Agent Brian Terry, who keep us safe, they have led us to this unnecessary and unwarranted outcome.
Joining me now from San Diego, Brian's cousin, Bob Hayer, and from Detroit, Brian's mother, Josephine Terry. Mrs. Terry, first to you, your reaction. Eric Holder obviously mentioned Brian, said he was, bravely trying to defend this country and our interests, but then went on to say, look, I did what I could. I shut this down. I saw that it was wrong, stopped this policy, and corrected what was obviously a botched situation. Your reaction?
Well, I think maybe he should have made that statement 18 months ago when Brian was killed. And I think what happened today was very, very good, and I was happy about it. And I think it's a step forward, justice for my son.
The contempt vote, the criminal contempt vote, 17 Democrats ended up voting with the Republicans. But we had a number walk out. Many Democrats left without casting a vote for criminal contempt or against criminal contempt. Bill O'Reilly said they walked out on your son's memory. What's your reaction to those who walked out without voting?
I was totally shocked, but you know what? I think it was a disgrace to them and not to my son.
Let's go to Bob. Mr. Hayer, your cousin was, by all accounts, an amazing individual, as are so many of these Border Patrol agents who get very little credit and don't get paid a lot to put their money and lives on the line against well-funded and many times armed assailants who are better armed and better funded than they are. And now he's gone. And Eric Holder reacted today with, in my mind, a little bit of arrogance and defiance. Your reaction?
Well, we've thought over the last 18 months quite a bit about this, and our only desire, Laura, is to get answers, the truth and justice for Brian. But we've thought quite a bit, is this just arrogance or is it incompetence? And sometimes I'm not sure what it is, but we are very disappointed that it's been 18 months since Brian died and we still don't have the answers. There was a time that the only information that was being given to the family was through the news media, Cheryl Atkinson on television, your show on radio, and the House Government and Reform Committee, Oversight and Reform Committee. That was the only source of information. You also have to know that when Brian was killed, nobody, not one government official, had the courage to come to the Terry family and say, we've got some additional bad news. The weapons found at the murder scene were part of this bigger gun trafficking operation known as Fast and Furious. It was an indignity to Brian. It was an egregious decision not to come forward and share that critical information with the family to help us understand how Brian died. Brian and his team were out there that night in Arizona, 18 miles inside the U.S. border, defending this country, protecting U.S. citizens. They didn't even know that there was such a thing as Operation Fast and Furious, which was arming with state-of-the-art military-grade assault weapons the most dangerous criminals in North America.
Well, and I think a lot of people believe that operation was being done to really strike at the gun stores that were selling those weapons, and that was really the motive there, not so much to track the cartels, but really make a statement about gun purchasing in the United States. Mrs. Terry, what have you heard from the Justice Department, Eric Holder's office?
I haven't heard anything. I received a letter when a few days after the funeral, and that was it. And then we received an email from his office.
Whoa. You received an email from his office?
Yes, from his office after it was mentioned on TV that he never contacted us.
So no phone call, no personal visit.
No, ma'am.
Well, we've had a couple of letters sent from the Attorney General to the Terry family, and they've come in as email attachments.
Oh, lovely.
We've also had a few phone calls from his office.
Okay, all right. Well, we've corrected that issue, but my goodness. And the Brian Terry Foundation, obviously also a worthy cause. Josephine, and thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we want to mention that Brian's family, of course, has launched that Brian Terry Foundation. It's going to raise money for the family of other murdered Border Patrol agents and for youth who want to go into law enforcement. You visit the website on the screen for more information for this cause, and it is worthy. Pinheads and Patriots on deck.